called a dangerous conspiracy theory? Another conspiracy theory that has, of course, come true. Meghan Markle is back. She's acting again. When did she stop? But no, she's back. She's acting in a film, and devastating revelations about Afghan asylum seekers next.
We're giving you the chance to win your entire Christmas this year paid for by us. First, we'll give you an incredible £30,000 in tax-free cash. Then we'll give you a further £10,000 cash to spend on all your Christmas presents, even the tree. Christmas lunch, that's on us too, with £1,000 in shopping vouchers to spend at your favourite supermarket. Finally, a GB News Christmas goodie bag. For a chance to win, text WIN to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message, or text BONUS to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge, or post your name and number to GB17 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 28th of November. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
So he can say whatever he wants.
A straight-talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m, weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
In the GB Newsroom, we bring you the news as it happens.
With our team of dedicated journalists across the UK.
We're ready to keep you up to date with what's happening every half an hour, every single day. Bulletins here on GB News.
The People's Channel,
Britain's news channel.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk then?
No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
The fact has Trump made a good start? No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I got up?
About 10. So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m, only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
5 hosts, 5 opinions, 5 fearless debates, 5 unfiltered takes on the day's news.
5 reasons not to be anywhere else on Saturday night.
This is the Saturday 5. You got me. You got me good there. Britain's biggest Saturday night TV show. It's not a bad brand. Yeah. Uncensored. Very, very easy tonight. On the unpredictable. What does she say? Can you translate it for us?
And always entertaining.
And how can a country go from being led by William Wallace Saturday nights from 6 p.m. only on GB News. The People's Channel.
Britain's news channel.
You're going to want to stay tuned, trust me.
Hello and welcome along to Patrick Christys Tonight, late edition, and it's breaking right now.
The Telegraph are reporting that a police manhunt has been launched for a second asylum seeker mistakenly freed from prison.
Not 1, not 2, but 3 accidental prison releases have emerged after David Lammy refused to answer the question 5 times today, despite knowing about the migrant sex offender. Now, the front pages, even The Guardian, is acknowledging that David Lammy might have to go over this. He's accused of misleading the Commons.
Deported more in the last year than they deported in the last 5 years. Please, I'm not going to take any lecture from the Honourable Gentleman. 13,000 more bobbies we are putting on the streets, kicking out 5,000 foreign criminal offenders.
Yes, the illegal migrant who overstayed his visa and was convicted of indecent exposure, then sentenced to an 18-month community order and placed on the sex offenders register for 5 years, remains at large. Why didn't we just deport him to begin with? And speaking of migrant sex offenders...
We will remove people with no right to be here, and we will secure Britain's borders.
Well, of course, Keir Starmer is not a migrant sex offender. He was just talking about them. A whistleblower has claimed to the Daily Telegraph that migrants are being given asylum even when they are being charged with sex crimes. This is, I think, probably the most devastating exclusive about the immigration system that I've ever seen. It's been served up by Alison Pearson of the Daily Telegraph. There is a whistleblower who was saying that we are knowingly allowing terrorists to claim asylum in Britain. Staggering stuff. Also tonight.
New York will remain a city of immigrants, a city built by immigrants, powered by immigrants, and as of tonight, led by an immigrant.
Well, that's New York, just in case you couldn't really tell. What could go wrong, hey? And here's some even worse news. Oh, yes.
Things you're dying to say or do right now that you feel like you can't?
No, I just make a choice.
Meghan Markle is making a return to acting. It's a new film. It's apparently alongside Lily Collins and Brie Larson, which is supposed to mean something to people. And Meghan Markle she's back, baby. She's going to be on this. Of course, it's good. She just couldn't have done that when she was in the royal family. You know? She couldn't have played a bit part role in some film that no one's ever going to watch. She just couldn't have done that, although she is playing herself. So, and finally. So it's bonfire night, and the effigies of politicians have been pretty interesting, to say the least. That was Nigel Farage. This is Sir Keir Starmer. Sir Keir Starmer, someone's made an effigy of him. So there we are. Presumably that will have been burnt to the ground by now. Joining us this evening is the director of the Popular Conservatives, Mark Littlewood. We've also got journalist and broadcaster Nina Mishkov and GB News contributor and comedian Steve N. Allen. But let's get those headlines with Tatiana.
Thank you, Patrick. The top story is a 24-year-old Algerian man mistakenly released from prison in London has been named as Brahim Kadour Sharif. He was wrongly freed from HMP Wandsworth on the 29th of October, but the error wasn't reported to police until nearly a week later. It's been confirmed he is not an asylum seeker but was serving time for trespass and has previously committed sexual offences. He entered the UK legally on a visit visa in 2019 and has now overstayed the visa. It comes just 5 days after convicted sex offender Hadushka Batu was accidentally released from prison in Chelmsford. Today's news broke after Shadow Defence Secretary James Cartledge pressed Deputy Prime Minister David Lammy in the Commons on whether any asylum seekers had been mistakenly released since Hadushka Batu.
They left our prisons on the brink of collapse entirely, threatening to allow offenders to run wild on our streets. He knows that. Rape victims waiting years for their day in court. He knows that. Neighbourhood policing decimated, leaving our people feeling unsafe in their communities, and they haven't learned a thing.
The MOJ says Mr Lammy hadn't been accurately informed of key details about the mistakenly released prisoner when he was asked about the case in the Commons. The Ministry of Justice has defended him after he failed to answer questions about the release of the 24-year-old Algerian national, despite having been informed about the case. David Lammy earlier said he's absolutely outraged and appalled by the mistake of the release and vowed to leave no stone unturned in fixing what he calls deep flaws in the criminal justice system. Police are hunting another prisoner who's been accidentally released from HMP Wandsworth. Surrey police have put out an appeal to find 35-year-old Billy Smith, who was released in error on Monday. Smith was sentenced to 45 months for multiple fraud offences in court on Monday, during which he appeared via a live video link from prison. Surrey police says he has links to Woking but could be anywhere in Surrey. And Donald Trump says election results in the US aren't good for Republicans after Democrats sweep the first major elections of his second term. Zohran Mamdani wins the New York City mayoral race, and Democrats also clinched key governor races in Virginia and New Jersey. 34-year-old Mamdani becomes New York City's first Muslim mayor and youngest person in over a century to lead the largest city in the US. Those are the latest GB News headlines. For now, it's over to Patrick.
You can now watch GB News live across the United States of America and the world on Truth Plus. Scan the QR code to find out more, or visit gbnews.com/truth.
Welcome along to the latest edition. Let's give you the very first look at Thursday's newspaper front pages, starting with the Metro. David Lammy grilled over latest jail bungle. Can I just say that there is actually a breaking line on David Lammy that's emerged since they went to print these papers, and it is that the Speaker of the House of Commons, Sir Lindsay Hoyle, asked David Lammy to come back to Parliament after it emerged that, well, A, he knew about the Algerian sex offender that's been mistakenly released, and B, that he then declined to answer any questions on it at all. He then refused because he said it would be, quote, career suicide. So there we are for David Lammy. The Daily Telegraph: pay per mile tax to hit drivers in the budget. You could be paying per mile now, thanks to Rachel Reeves. The Guardian: David Lammy under pressure after 2 more prisoners mistakenly freed. So Lammy's on the rack a bit there. The Metro as well, which I think we've already done, but anyway. Lammy grilled over latest jail bungle. The I paper: manhunt for new missing prisoners as Deputy Prime Minister feels the heat over blunders. The Sun have gone for a slightly left-field front page. They often do a kind of celebrity front page. Their main story is I'm Meghan a Movie, which is the Duchess Meghan Markle returning to acting after 8 years in a film role with stars like Lily Collins and Brie Larson. It's a film called Close Personal Friends. We've got more detail on what that film acting role will involve for Meghan Markle, and Mark Littlewood's been all over it for us. He'll be there. So their little nib in the top, though, is a good headline. It's Lammy Slammer Ding Dong, which I quite like. The Daily Express: shocking release of Algerian sex attack convict. They've gone straight down the line there. It's pretty blunt, but it's pretty accurate. There's a manhunt on the way. And the Daily Mail: police warn of a Labour soft justice crime wave. So the Daily Mail are saying that Labour's soft justice reforms will unleash a crime wave on the streets, and that is apparently coming from police chiefs. Another line out today is that the Met Police have thrown David Lammy under the bus. He said initially that he didn't want to reveal the info about the Algerian sex fiend because it was a complicated investigation, to which the Metropolitan Police have now come out and said that's a load of rubbish. We had no problem with you saying anything about it. So he's already in trouble with the police. The Mirror: prisons in chaos. Not again. It is again. And the Times: Lammy snared by latest migrant release blunder. Look, he's all over them. We're going to start with it. I'll start with you, Mark, on this. So, yeah, I mean, do any of these front pages knock it on a little bit for you? Is this interesting to see how they've reacted?
We had this with Kabata as well, didn't we? If we look at the I paper, you know, we know that basically the entire justice system and asylum system and immigration system and prison system in this country is broken. And so this is, you know, another case of it all going to pot. But then we can be assured, because guess what? There's a manhunt now going on. Okay. It suddenly now makes it sound as if we've deployed the A-team to sort of track down this person. I'd like to know what the manhunt consists of, because last time around it consisted of the police sitting around and waiting for a member of the public to phone them up when they saw the bloke in a park. So it suddenly sounds very dramatic, but I'm not very hopeful of it. I mean, this is a shambles by Lammy. It's not in the papers, Patrick, but the point that you made, if it is right that Lindsay Hoyle told him to return to the House of Commons to clarify something, I don't think in his PMQ's answers he misled Parliament, because he didn't give any answers. So he didn't say anything untrue, he just didn't reveal information. But if he refused to return when the Speaker of the House of Commons said, you've got to come back and clarify this now, that is where this story will run next.
David Lammy's approach to this so far has been to say basically nothing about the incident itself, but then just to put out on social media that he was very proud to be the first black man to answer questions at PMQs. Aside from the fact that he didn't actually
answer any questions, it's a barefaced lie.
It was, which some would say is a barefaced lie. I do also wonder whether or not he's rolling the wickets, trying to claim that criticism of his performance is in some way racist. But we do have the receipts, and here are David Lammy's non-answers at PMQs.
Well, the House is thankfully quiet, so I'm surprised the honourable gentleman didn't hear me when I said that, of course, I apologise. After his release, I put in place the toughest checks we've ever had in the prison system. I'm the Justice Secretary, that's why I'm at the dispatch box, also as Deputy Prime Minister. We know that. We've deported more in the last year than they deported in the last 5 years. Please, I'm not going to take any lecture from the honourable gentleman. 13,000 more bobbies we are putting on the streets, kicking out 5,000 foreign criminal offenders. I've got to say to the honourable gentleman, he should do better.
Yeah, aged like a fine wine. Well, what do you make of this? I mean, it's about as comically awful as it could get, with a very serious undertone, of course, because there is an Algerian sex feed on the list.
But you might as well enjoy the dark humour of it, because what else can you do at this stage? I mean, you're right, it's been called a manhunt last time. We saw how incompetent we are. Our system's incompetent, and it's true, those departments their budget is like 7 days' worth of the welfare budget. So, look, I'm sure they're underfunded, they're understaffed, they're good at this, if we're brutally honest. When he uses that line there saying he put in place the toughest checks, that feels like a very low bar to have to jump over, isn't it? Because look how tough your checks are, 3 of them. Although, when we were talking about the last case, the stats were something like 260 prisoners wrongly released every year. So I suppose that's 4 a week. So we should have had more than this. If anything, we've done really well to only have 3 come out since the last one. You know, statistically, we're doing well. And it's really embarrassing as well that if it weren't for our inept system releasing 200-odd prisoners every year, erroneously, they'd probably be too full. We actually need to have this level of incompetence to manage to keep like the steam valve, managing to stop the pressure getting too much. It is ridiculous, but when you look at Lammy's performance, it is very much, oh, look at the mess that you left. Distracting from the look at the mess that we're running.
But the other detail, again, that like when you just think it can't keep getting worse today, Lammy, it does, which is that we then subsequently find out that whilst he's saying all that stuff, literally in front of him is a statement on the Algerian sex offender case that he's just, whilst he's there shouting and getting all weird about the whole thing, if he'd have just stopped and read the statement, we wouldn't be here now. He wouldn't. I mean, he'd be on the front because of the story being sensational, but he wouldn't really be the story. But it's the perceived lies and cover-up, Nina, isn't it?
That's always the problem. But to be fair, to try and be fair to him, if he had just, as I say, as I said the last programme, just held that, the photograph of the guy up on the piece of paper, he could have been entirely wrong, because he was being asked each question about an asylum seeker, and this guy was not an asylum seeker. So they could have been talking about somebody else. So you can hold this thing up and it can be completely wrong. You've got to know your facts. And the thing is, the facts were that Wandsworth Prison were completely at fault, because the guy went on a Wednesday, and they didn't tell the Met Police till the Monday.
No, but there is another line on this which is yet to come out, which is that David Lammy claims that he was made aware of this the night before, so last night. Was aware overnight. Now, after Prime Minister's questions, our reporter Olivia Utley went to Keir Starmer's spokesperson in person. And they said to us, on record, that this was the first they were hearing about it, which implies that the Justice Secretary, David Lammy, did not inform the Prime Minister.
That's pretty extraordinary, isn't it? And, I mean, the other bit that I cannot understand about his performance, so you've got the statement, the Conservatives have obviously got advanced knowledge that this is happening, so James Cartledge is able to sort of fire at it again and again and again. Why don't you just say, I do have a statement that I'll make about an incident in Wandsworth Prison. I think the precise details that the Conservatives have put over the dispatch box are not correct, and I would not wish to misinform the House or the public in any way. I will, however, return to the House this afternoon to give all details that I can in order to assuage the public's fears. If that had been his answer the first time round, James Cartledge on the Tory benches has nowhere else to go.
Yeah, and as a cover-up, it's not a very clever cover-up, is it? It hardly speaks of some genius mind with some conspiracy. So I don't know what you're talking about. And then obviously have to talk about it and sure what happened.
But is that not part of the problem? Which is that there is at least the perception of David Lammy that he is too idiotic for office.
Well, look, I don't know if I very much enjoyed your mastermind clips. I've been enjoying that the most. Yeah, I don't know how I'd score on that TV show, but I'm not in charge of the Justice Department, so that's probably the big thing here, isn't it?
The thing is, you cannot get degrees in this country or go to Harvard and get a degree there and not have some brain cells, surely. But some people just don't have the smarts, what they say in America, or they don't have the knowledge. I mean, or history questions. Mastermind. I mean, must be, to be fair, must be absolutely terrifying. You're sitting in that chair, the spotlight's on you. Almost anybody would freeze.
In charge of the entire justice system. I don't know.
The thing is,
the ability to answer under pressure is what we're looking for here.
But not on. I mean, that is.
When it comes to guessing monarchs, the only thing you have to do is not guess one with a lower.
Yeah, I know. I realise that. There is no defence. There's no defence of that. There's absolutely no defence of that. I think you got in a complete tears, basically.
Yeah.
But then, as I said, John Prescott used to, as you say, mangle his words.
But here's an interesting thing. I've picked this up on the front page of The Guardian, tucked in at the bottom of their story on the front page. So the tough new checks that David Lammy was very clear he has now imposed, which aren't working. Well, what are they? It's 5 pages of new checks for prison governors. 5 pages. How complicated are we making this system? I mean, it's like, are we sure this is the right bloke? Are we sure we're supposed to release him? Is he a dangerous criminal? I mean, what else are we
We've got stuck at, look, we've done Lammy, haven't we? Really? I mean, we could do an entire show on it, but happily, actually. But,
bless him, he had a new suit for it and everything.
Which we're going to talk about later, because he walked into that without a poppy on, and that was devastating. But just quickly, when it comes to the actual justice system here, how difficult, as Mark was saying, how difficult can it be to look at the mugshot of someone, look at the person, and be like, actually, you're in for 18 months.
Yeah. And not only that, even if you get it wrong, like, your 5 pages won't help, because the last time, when we got the details of the last story, the guy kept coming back going, oh, no, I shouldn't be released. Now, if he's doing more checks than the prison, what chance do we stand?
The thing is, if you talk about the calibre of this prison officers, all you have to do to become a prison officer, the requirements are over 18, you don't even have to have any kind of qualification. Over 18, physically fit, and good eyesight. Now, may I suggest they are failing that test, because if they had decent eyesight, as you say,
I think they're failing the IQ part of the test.
Exactly.
The eyesight part.
I will just speak on behalf of prison officers here, because I think they are a bit hamstrung by what they can say about this. I've got a feeling that it's someone in a very specific type of role. I don't think it's these your prison officers that go and check cells. I don't think it's these people who do a very thankless task with this kind of stuff, who I happen to know, by the way, a lot of them are massive GB News fans. So I'm not trying to slag you off. What I'm saying is, I don't know. It looks like someone on reception is having a really bad week. But anyway...
Also, in defence, there was that woman who was charged with sleeping with prisoners.
Yeah.
I bet she'd notice if one of them went missing. So maybe more like her.
Rehire her.
All right, well, look, just to say, coming up in just a second.
We will remove people with no right to be here, and we will secure Britain's borders.
I actually honestly think this is one of the biggest exclusives about the immigration crisis that we've ever had in this country, and it's been presented to us by Alison Pearson from the Daily Telegraph. We are accepting Afghan and, well, loads of asylum seekers, actually, who are known sex criminals, who are terrorists, and it's turned out that people who work in the Home Office asylum applications are being given a quota of targets to hit, and they're being disciplined if they reject people. It's as bad as it gets. That's next.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk then?
No, that's it. This is where it matters. Real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
The fact that Trump made a good start, no.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I got up?
About 10. So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m, only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
GB News Breakfast, every day from 6 a.m.
It's about this project. What are you doing with it, and what are you hoping to achieve?
Hi, Stephen. Hi, Anne. Hope you're well.
Hi. Yes.
I'm partnering with Genesis Care, which is a private healthcare company, and basically following their research, which shared that the number one fear of people who get diagnosed with glioblastoma is that they lose their memories. Now, that's obviously affects me because Tom was my brother, and his 2 points in his life was raising awareness to treatments and the power of positivity. Tom's family were called the Positive Parkers, and we were an extension of the Positive Parkers. So Genesis Care have created this campaign called the Memory Bank, which is an art installation that basically you go to. It was in the Westgate Shopping Centre in Cambridge, and now it's in the Genesis Care Centre.
Just here in the UK, it's about 13,000 people are diagnosed with this sort of primary brain tumour, glioblastoma, as you were saying. Did Tom ever say that that was his greatest fear, was losing his memory?
He didn't really. Tom lived in the moment. He never made us feel like he was diagnosed. He was always positive. Even in his worst days, he'd come in with a smile on his face. And what comes to mind is he'd go into an interview like this and say wonderful things about life, like such spiritual, deep messages. And I'd turn to him and I'd say, Tom, that was just phenomenal. And he'll say, like, I've no idea what I just said.
GB News, the People's Channel.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power? Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's Political Podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's Political Podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
Welcome along to Late Edition. Now, as you've been hearing, the story dominating most of the front pages is in relation to David Lammy, but also the other aspect to that, of course, is this accidental release of a foreign illegal migrant, an Algerian sex offender, who frankly could be anywhere now. It also turned out, for good measure, they released another bloke called Billy, who had been sentenced to 45 months for fraud. He didn't actually spend a day in Wandsworth after he was sentenced, so, you know, they'll let anyone out now. Joining us now is Danny Shaw, police and crime commentator and former Labour advisor. Danny, thank you very much. Great to see you, mate. Right, OK, could we cover this, I suppose, more from the practicalities of how these people are getting released, then? Who are we blaming here? We've been tossing out just words like prison officer. I'm not really sure that's fair, is it? I mean, how do you get released accidentally?
Well, I think in the case of William Smith, that appears to be quite straightforward, Patrick. So he was the fraudster who was convicted, sentenced to, I think, 44 months in prison, and the court mistakenly thought that that sentence was suspended. And the information didn't get through to Wandsworth Prison correctly. So Wandsworth Prison were under the assumption that he had a suspended sentence, therefore he should be released. Now, that doesn't appear to me, on the face of it, according to those facts, to be any fault of the prison or the prison officers in that case, but that's a clerical error on the part of the courts. And I'm afraid the courts do make errors like that. A number of the releases in error that we've seen over the past 12 months have been because of mistakes by the courts. I think in the case of Brahim Kadour Sharif, I think it's a lot more complicated. I've been trying to get to the bottom of the timeline of what exactly he was sentenced for. I've been given conflicting accounts. I get passed from the Home Office, who can deal with deportation, to the Ministry of Justice, who can deal with some aspects of his imprisonment. They tell me to go to the Metropolitan Police for his criminal record. Some of it's to do with the courts. It's really a symptom of the whole process is not working together. No one's taking ownership of that case. Hardly surprising that in those circumstances, he gets released in error and it's 6 days.
Just on that,
it's spotted.
It's worth reminding the viewers and listeners that he came to Britain legally on a visit visa in 2019, but as of early February 2020, it had come to the authorities' attention that he was believed to have overstayed that visa and was therefore should be deported. Which makes it slightly bizarre for me, because he was arrested for a sex offence in 2024 and then sent to prison for that. So when he was arrested for that sex offence, then having overstayed at that point by 4 years, why wouldn't we just deport him? And why has he been even given the opportunity to be accidentally released?
Patrick, I'm as exasperated and bewildered as you are about that. I mean, he should have been deported in 2020 when it came to the Home Office's attention that his visa had expired, in effect. So why wasn't he deported then? What efforts were made to deport him? Could he not be located? Was it something to do with COVID? Were there problems with the Algerian authorities getting permission to remove him back there? We don't know. That's why we need to find out. But absolutely, he has a criminal record. He has convictions. I think he was given a community order for that sexual offence of indecency. So I don't think he went to prison for that, as far as I'm aware. But nevertheless, it should have been obvious that this was a man who had no right to be in the UK, and therefore he should be subject to deportation. I think earlier this year, he was in an immigration removal centre, so the deportation proceedings must have been pretty imminent at that point. And then he's accused of further offences, and so brought back to court. Then he's transferred to prison, and somewhere in all of this mess, he's released in error. I mean, I don't think... I haven't heard a definitive account of it, and I think that's because I think the authorities are completely confused about this case, and I think that's probably goes to the heart of why he's been released by mistake. And I bet you that there are other cases. The question is, will those other cases come to light? But I'm sure there are others.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. I mean, especially this is very much the story of the moment, isn't it? So everyone's going to be looking for these cases now. And by the sounds of it, given the kind of weapons-grade incompetence that we seem to be seeing right from David Lammy down to a few other rungs down the ladder, I would be amazed if we didn't find another one tomorrow. But look, Danny, thank you very much. Great to have you on the show, as ever. It's Danny Shaw there. So I just want to whiz you on something else, because I think on a normal day, this would probably be leading the news agenda, and it's in the Daily Telegraph. It's a huge story. It's a whistleblower who works as an asylum caseworker has decided that she can't take it anymore. She can't live with the guilt and with the worry, so she's done a tell-all interview with Alison Pearson at the Daily Telegraph. And in that interview, she has revealed that hundreds of thousands of asylum seekers have allegedly just disappeared in the UK, that there are countries like Afghanistan, Eritrea, Kuwait and Sudan that we have now decided to accept literally 99% of cases from there. So people are lying about saying they're from those countries, and they've got a 99% chance of staying. She then also went on to say that she was ordered to grant asylum to an Afghan man who had been arrested multiple times for exposing himself to children in a children's playground. And she was told, quote, "We can't refuse an Afghan," even a persistent Afghan child flasher. And then on top of that as well, she claims that there are now targets set by the Home Office that these applicants have to meet. And she says, look, of course, terrorists and criminals have been granted asylum. Mark, this is kind of everything we thought we knew, but now, really, it's definitively happening.
Yeah, I mean, God bless this whistleblower. I hope more come forward, because we all know and can see the system's broken, but it's only people like this that are right in the guts of it that can explain how. And it seems to me that the evidence we've got here is, again, we're too soft. The criteria for granting you asylum is if you can establish, or even if you confect, a story that if you send me back to country X, I will be tortured or murdered because of my political views, because of the regime dislikes me. We consider that and that alone. We don't put any obligations or duties on the person. So I think we said we will consider your application, but there are a range of other criteria that you need to clear before we will give you status. And those sorts of criteria you need to clear is do not flash at children in a park, for example, right? Yeah. And other such things. And it seems that's just not part of the process. That's sort of neither here nor there. The mere fact that if we send you back to Afghanistan, you might be in some trouble, that's enough. That closes the case. Absolutely not. You know, you cannot be letting in people who are behaving in this fashion, and we plainly are. I hope more people come forward.
Yeah, but a very brave woman to do this, and she does make the point that she feels as though the quote is, I think that one day I'm gonna let someone in who's gonna rape or abuse a woman or a young girl, and she is of the mindset that she just can't live with that anymore. I do hope more people come forward.
Absolutely, but as I said, the Home Office has just, 20 years ago it was said the Home Office is not fit for purpose, and it just hasn't improved. And although the whistleblower, as I understand it, is talking about now. She was also talking about between 2021 and 2023. So that's historical. It's not just now. It's not just this government that is saying let 99% of people through.
No,
it's going back. And the problem is with the Home Office. I mean, and this is just hearsay. This is somebody I know whose brother-in-law works in Liverpool for the asylum claims process, and he's a manager in that, and he's on the bloody golf course all the time, and his wife moves the mouse on his computer.
Seriously?
Well,
yes.
you can buy things online that move the mouse for you. That's
Well,
don't need a wife.
What's she going to do all day?
Yeah, exactly.
No, or whatever. He may well have upgraded in technology, but that was what I was told. And this is standard practice. Get them back to the office.
She's actually part of a union, Stephen. He wanted to replace her with a device, and she wouldn't let him.
Yeah, so they'll be one out, all out. The problem is, though, when you say the Home Office is not fit for purpose, maybe I've been wrong. Every time I hear that, I imagine that kind of thing. People not pulling the weight, they're off on the golf course, paperwork gets lost. Ineptitude means that stuff goes wrong. That's not what we're hearing here. This is a rule put in place saying that if you've not received a prison sentence for your flashing, then in you come. I mean, we're back to the other story. Maybe we should put more people in prisons, but we can't because they're full. And the reason not full is because we're accidentally letting people out. The whole thing's a mess. But this doesn't seem like incompetence, does it? It seems like the system is set up. A quota to make sure you're approving enough people. That's not what a refugee system is meant to be based on, is it?
Can you imagine, like,
merits.
you know, one of those like recruitment offices where everyone, or sales, everyone has targets, and it's like you just see at the end of the one going, "Well done, everyone, well done." Sandra's hit a quota of Sudanese.
Ring the
bell. Get in, fantastic. Anyway, Home Office spokesman said, "We take all allegations seriously and are committed to addressing any concerns appropriately. However, we do not accept the characterisation of those concerns presented," and they also say that we operate within a robust framework of safeguards and quality to ensure that things go OK, and we're changing the law so that individual convicted of sexual offences cannot be granted asylum. Right. Coming up, well, David Lammy hit the headlines because of just what an omni-shambles he was in terms of allowing foreign sex offenders out. But did you notice this?
And I'm very grateful to the Honourable Member for Sunderland South for ensuring that despite wearing a new suit, I've managed to put my poppy on.
Ha 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 ha, forgot his poppy, OK? I mean, that alone should be a resigning matter, shouldn't it?
Hi there and welcome to the latest update from the Met Office for GB News. It is very mild out there for bonfire night. Clear spells, yes, but some showery rain, increasingly so by dawn. However, not nearly as wet as it has been in some places so far this week. We've still got low pressure in charge. That's bringing this mild southerly airflow. It's also pushing the more persistent rain into parts of northern and central Scotland. The rain, though, turning more showery as the night wears on. Those showery outbreaks most likely in the north and the west. Further east, we keep mostly dry and clear weather. But whether you've got the clear skies or the cloud or the rain, it's going to be a mild start to Thursday. Temperatures remaining in the mid-teens in places. It's also a cloudy start for many, particularly across parts of Scotland and Northern Ireland, where there'll be some outbreaks of rain. Clear spells further south, some sunshine first thing, but areas of cloud and some showers starting to spread back into parts of the south and the west of England and Wales. Best chance of some sunshine, I suspect, will be across North Wales and Northern England before we get into this cloudier zone through Scotland and Northern Ireland, although some cloud breaks are likely for the northeast of Scotland as first band of rain clears Shetland. Then on Thursday afternoon, well, it's a real mixed bag out there. Areas of cloud and showers, some heavy downpours for parts of West Wales into the southwest, eventually pushing into Northern Ireland, northwest England and southwest Scotland. One or two showers elsewhere, but mostly dry with some sunny spells and with light winds, feeling pleasant in the sunshine with temperatures at 17, even 18 Celsius. Showers from the word go on Friday, but also a decent chance of some sunshine, especially in central and eastern parts, ahead of this system that brings some heavy and persistent rain in from the west and southwest into Northern Ireland, Wales and the southwest of England, clearing through by the time we start off the weekend. So Saturday looking like the best bet for dry and fine weather.
Decisions made in Washington aren't just shaping America, they're shaping Britain too. From migration to global security, from crime to health. Whatever happens in the White House today
will be felt in your town or city tomorrow.
That's why The Late Show is live from Washington, D.C.
Cutting through the politics to show you what it all means for Britain.
The Late Show live every night at midnight.
Only on GB News,
Britain's news channel.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk now?
No, that's it. This is where it matters. Real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
The fact that Trump made a good start, no.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I got up? About 10.
So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m. only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Welcome back to Late Edition. We'll just go into it. So this happened earlier.
Bought a new suit this morning because my godmother said she would be watching. But his question brings to mind the West Indies Regiment and their contribution into world wars. And I'm very grateful to the Honourable Member for Sunderland South for ensuring that despite wearing a new suit, I've managed to put my poppy on. We wear the poppy to remember all those who fought and died for this country.
He's kind of skirting over it there. So he's in Parliament then. What you hear him is he's talking about the fact that he's now got a poppy on and that there's a right honourable member who's near him, who turns out, by the way, I think was in the RAF, who did have a poppy and gave it to him. And he bought a new suit that morning, and that's why he did, because he knew his godmother would be watching and everything. But actually, what all that is a mask for the fact that he walked into the House of Commons today for his first ever PMQs, and he forgot to put a poppy on.
Yeah, it's probably even worse than that. I mean, I was just reflecting that I would think probably one of the worst jobs on planet Earth is being David Lammy's minder. But he must have them, right?
And
an absolute baseline for his press officer or his assistant or his PA or whatever would be, I mean, not just if you're doing PMQs. You've got to have one of these on, you know, certainly from the 1st of November, right the way through to Remembrance Day. So his staff don't seem to be any more competent than he is. I mean, it's the sort of thing you should remember yourself, especially if you're going to reference Remembrance Day. You would think it would not slip your mind. But maybe he's now so gaff-prone he cannot find anyone to act as a minder.
Yeah, and so this is just to prove it to you. So this is him without the poppy. So he walks in there, and he was so smug. He was taking Prime Minister's questions, standing in, and he was just giving it big licks, and then realised that, oh gosh, I've not got a poppy on. Someone has to tell him that. I mean, that is just inconceivable.
Wasn't it the Tories who pointed it out, I think?
Yeah.
There are two excuses he might have. He might have changed into the special new suit, and actually, I noticed the suit because it was fabulous fabric. I thought, oh my God, that's an expensive suit. And it was a bit like
just bought this morning.
A bit like David Beckham's tailcoat, you know, that he wore to. Yeah, so, absolutely. So that's the same kind of fabric. It looked really good. So he might just have changed the suit, and it might have been on the older suit, or if it's coming into winter weather now, he might have had an overcoat which had the poppy on.
That? Because
no, I'm just saying there's reasons.
I can't help but wonder whether or not with David Lammy there's going to end up being a little whopper told here, and people are going to find pictures of him in that suit a year ago.
No, either way, I'm not quite sure, and this might be the harshest thing I've ever said, whether it's new or it's old, why does it not fit? Does it not seem like that? Come on, he can afford. If it's your first day doing that job, I'm not dressed fancy, but he can afford one that fits.
Can we see him again? Well, go on.
Do you think it didn't fit?
I want you to describe the fit. Can we see Lammy in some guise that he's got here? Hopefully, I'm sure there's a video of him here. But I want you to tell us, please, Steve, what is it about this fit of suit that we're about to see that you don't particularly?
Without even the picture, I remember it. He's got a lot of loose space happening around the shoulder and chest, doesn't he? I know it's when he leans forwards more and shouts at people. It doesn't. It goes it ruttles up at the top. You know, like when Frankie Howard used to do the button and then put his arms back and go, "No, don't." It's got a whip of that. What? No.
Yeah, you're right.
The one when he leans forwards.
The thing is, he's quite a difficult shape to dress, isn't he?
Right.
Don't. That was his comeback to one of the questions.
Yeah.
Does the honourable gentleman have anything to say about the escape convict?
So look, could it have really gone when you think about it, could it have really gone any worse for the guy? He's wandered in without a poppy.
A lot of space there, look at that.
Yeah, there is room at the back, isn't there? Given it the big un, then had his rear end served to him by a bloke that I've never heard of, the Conservative Party, who just asked him the same question
over and
5 times.
So I had a little bit of inside intel on this. I gather that James Cartledge, who was standing in for Kemi Badenoch, is the defence spokesman for the Conservatives, but it was his 15 minutes of fame today, and he'll probably get a lot more on the back of it. He only discovered this story 20 minutes before PMQs, right? And therefore probably would have spent an hour or two preparing whatever he was going to go on, the economy, taxes, whatever. But when he came across this one, they just decided to switch horses, just go for this over and over again. It's one of the reasons why the question was repeated so many times. They hadn't worked through every permutation and combination. It was brilliant, absolutely brilliant.
Because he didn't answer the question. It was actually a really prime example of someone with intelligence being able to think.
I thought he was superb, James
and
Cartledge.
react to the situation.
I think it was more plotted than that, because remember, this is the Telegraph. The Telegraph and the Conservative Party are in cahoots. The Telegraph would dearly like the Conservative to be back, so they give the Telegraph more power, and they're like that. And in fact, you look at the timing that the Telegraph released the story. It was just 12:34.
Yeah.
So that gave. What's his name?
James Cartledge.
James Cartledge. Enough time to get David Lammy to hang us. It was a Bengal tiger trap.
All right, which David Lammy obviously wandered into head first. We've got the Daily Telegraph on your screens right now, and we're going to stick with it because there's another story there. Pay per mile tax to hit drivers in this budget. I'll give you some more detail. Electric vehicle owners will be hit with a new pay per mile tax in the budget. Under the current plans to be announced by the Chancellor on November the 26th, drivers of electric cars will be charged 3p per mile on top of other road taxes. It's just why?
It's thin end of the wedge as well. Yeah, the reason is because as people move from petrol to electric, they're not paying all the extortionate duty, and the government's obviously, well, have some of that then.
But they've told them everyone to.
That was the reason to do it, wasn't it? Go use an electric one. You won't have to pay all that fuel duty. But until with it, £3 per mile as well. It's even more annoying if you drive an electric vehicle because you have to drive further to get the thing recharged. Because the distribution of charging points, you've got to be getting like a couple of quid trying to actually get the darn thing charged. Here's the real stinger: it's preemptive. So you have to estimate how many miles you'll do next year, and then you'll be taxed based on that. If you've overshot it, then you get it in credit. If you've underdone it, then you have to pay some more. It just goes to show how desperate they are for money, that they want the money up front for what you might drive in the following year.
That is actually another shocking detail, isn't it? So they want you to pay up front.
Yep. For your own estimated mileage.
Are they going to be using? Are they going to be using all those signs around the country to just to get the number plate things that can actually?
Well, they've said they won't do number plate recognition because that then raises a whole massive array of privacy concerns that we suddenly know where every driver is. But if they're not going to do that, Steve's right. I mean, this is just a joke, isn't it? I mean, this would be the equivalent would be me telling my supermarket roughly what I think I'm going to eat over the next year, and Tesco saying, well, we'll need a couple of grand up front now, mate. So, I mean, you've got to be joking.
Yeah. It's just bonkers. Right.
Hybrid cars, which you said about a hybrid, they will pay less.
Well, I'll take it.
OK, fine, yeah. I mean, it just seems pretty moronic, really. I mean, Mel Stride, by the way, Conservative Shadow Chancellor, has just said if you own it, Labour will tax it, and it does appear to be the case. We are just going to go quickly stateside for Bev Turner, who will, of course, be lighting up your airways and radio waves for the next 2 hours after I'm finished here. Bev Turner is back, and you are... Yeah, what's on? You're quite bothered about this paper mile stuff, I think, aren't you?
Oh, Patrick, I'm absolutely furious about the paper mile thing. I think it's absolutely disgusting. And unfortunately, some of us have been talking about this for 4 years that this was coming down the line. But the fact that they're putting it now only on electric vehicles. So all those people who thought, I'll do the right thing. I'll do what the government wants me to do. I'm not going to have diesel and petrol. I'm going to buy an environmentally friendly car and save the planet. And it's going to be cheaper because I'm not going to pay road tax. Well, you've got to pay your road tax. And now you've got to pay per mile before you even know how far you're going to drive. It is disgusting. And we're going to be talking to Danny Kelly at the top of the show about this this evening. And we're going to show you a brilliant clip from Top Gear from when Gordon Brown was Chancellor, which predicted this. It's quite extraordinary. And also there's been Trump protests in Washington, D.C. today, anti-Trump protests, and Ben Leo was down there. He's going to tell us all about it. And the news that you've just been discussing, Patrick, about the fact that Meghan Markle is going to go back into acting. I think you've just done that this evening, haven't you?
We have.
Front page of the paper. Is that a good idea, that Meghan Markle goes back to acting? She probably should never have left, in my opinion.
Well, I don't really think she ever did she, Bev? But that might have been part of the problem, I suppose. So there we go. But anyway, all right, brilliant stuff. Everyone's going to be glued to this TV screen. It's a fantastic show, and I'll see you in a couple of minutes, basically. So Bev Turner there, stateside, Washington DC for the Late Show Live. Coming up, there's a bit of football on tomorrow. Don't watch it, obviously. Watch this instead. But it's really more than football taking place, because it's that game, isn't it, between Aston Villa and Maccabi Tel Aviv. And well, some groups have got plans for it. I'll tell you what they are when I come back.
I forecast a perfect holiday in the sun.
Weather looking good then?
For sure, and no worries about our travel insurance.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
If you're looking to escape the autumnal weather in the UK, well, there is also some unsettled weather through the Mediterranean. The focus in the east and the west at the moment, with Greece seeing some heavy showers, particularly towards the south, and even some longer spells of rain. Italy, though, faring well for sunny skies, likewise for the south of France. But we do have this wet and windy weather sweeping through Portugal on Wednesday, into Spain, and then clearing into eastern Spain during Thursday.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
In the GB newsroom, we bring you the news as it happens.
With our team of dedicated journalists across the UK,
we're ready to keep you up to date with what's happening every half an hour, every single day. Bulletins here on GB News,
the People's Channel,
Britain's news channel.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk
No,
now?
that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
In fact, has Trump made a good start? No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I got up? About 10.
So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m. only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power? Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's political podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's political podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
Decisions made in Washington aren't just shaping America, they're shaping Britain too. From migration to global security, from crime to health. Whatever happens in the White House today
will be felt in your town or city tomorrow.
That's why The Late Show is live from Washington, D.C.
Cutting through the politics to show you what it all means for Britain.
The Late Show live every night at midnight.
Only on GB News,
Britain's news channel.
Mornings don't have to be tiresome, especially if you have the right company.
Wake up to news as it happens, opinion and debate, and of course, a little bit of entertainment too.
Because when the kettle's on, we're on.
That's Breakfast on GB News, a show worth waking up for.
Every morning from 6 a.m.
Only on the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
We'll spread the news, you spread the word.
Westminster, the ultimate clique.
And you're fighting like rats in a sack.
But here on the Camilla Tominey Show, we ask the questions the establishment media is too scared to ask.
OK, let me ask you a straight question, because I know you're a straight-talking politician.
Whether it's net zero, illegal immigration or law and order, nothing is off limits.
You had the power then.
Yeah, as I
and
say,
now you've lost it.
That's the Camilla Tominey Show, a politics show that's fearless.
But no, let me finish my question if you don't mind, because it is my show.
Sundays at 9:30, only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
All Right, welcome back to the latest edition. The very front page of The Sun, very front page, weird thing to say. The front page of The Sun is I'm Meghan a movie, and it's Meghan Markle, and she is now back doing acting, although, as Mark points out, she's playing herself in a film in Hollywood.
Yeah. Playing herself. Nina says this is acting, and it's even harder to play yourself than somebody else because you're trying to play yourself with somebody else's words, I dare say. Look, I mean, I don't know what to say about this story. I mean, it's pretty... I think you've probably mistaken me for somebody who gives a toss.
Okay, go on, Steve. I mean, you'll be watching this with you know, eager eyes, won't you? Close Personal Friends is the title of this movie.
I can't wait. Brie Larson, though, she's Captain Marvel.
Captain Marvel.
Yeah, Captain Marvel.
So... that's the thing I've heard of.
And Lily Collins is Phil Collins' daughter and stars in Emily in Paris.
Okay.
Yeah. So she's had fantastic success.
Okay.
What do we think what kind of version of herself is she going to go for? Do you think it's going to genuinely be one of those sickening things like where actually it's an hour of these girls like getting very worked about meeting a duchess and Meghan Markle glides in and she's amazing and all this? Or do you think she's going to play up to the diva stereotypes, like take the mick out of herself?
I guarantee she's going to surreptitiously put some jam on the table.
Oh. Yeah.
Just move
Product
that into
placement.
shot. Yeah.
She doesn't have a great line in self-deprecation, does she? So I'm not expecting her to take the mick out of herself.
It's to criticise Meghan Markle. It's just such low-hanging fruit, isn't it? Because we've been set up for
and
it.
so joyous.
That's the name of it.
So for years and years and years, people have all the press has just gone for her and gone for her and gone for her. And she doesn't deserve that. She really doesn't. No, she doesn't. She doesn't. I mean, she's a genuine... You know, look, you talk about...
Is what she genuinely is that most people object to.
No. Look. You know, she's too Californian for most people's taste. So she does the Gwyneth Paltrow thing, and Gwyneth was sent up for it. But beyond that,
make candles out of her own vagina.
Well, that was Gwyneth, yes, but Meghan's not done anything like...
That's the kind of thing you get ridiculed for.
Yeah, you should get ridiculed for.
But anyone who sets herself up as a lifestyle guru, is going to have...
Get ridiculed. And rightly so. And rightly so.
And she's earning her own money. I mean, how many... You know, and she was an activist from the time she was a child.
Oh, OK, all right, I've had enough.
It just keeps mounting up, Nina. It just keeps mounting up.
We'll leave that. All right, I appreciate you fight the good fight. No, to slightly more serious, the Palestine Solidarity Campaign has posted an advert online because there's a planned protest tomorrow at Villa Park, the football match between Aston Villa and Maccabi Tel Aviv. Now, it reads, protest, show Israel the red card. Aston Villa versus Maccabi Tel Aviv is still going ahead. Teams from a state responsible for genocide and committing apartheid shouldn't play in international football. Join us to show Israel's racism and genocide the red card. I don't need to remind anyone that this game is going to be played in Birmingham, which has a huge Muslim population. They've got a couple of the Gaza independents who are now representing them as well. Some of the local councils there is absolute Fruit Loops. Some of them are. There's also some more sinister videos doing the rounds online, which hopefully I'll be able to show you tomorrow anyway, which includes, it appears, my face. Yes, my face. Being beamed onto the side of Aston Villa's football ground.
Very sinister.
Do you think they're doing that to try and keep people away? Like Dawson joke. Keep the kids away from the mantelpiece.
Yeah. I do think that the lads that do that, though, I get that it's for Chaza, but, you know, maybe you should just get a girlfriend. What are you doing tonight, mate? Oh, I'm just off to beam a journalist's face onto the side of a football goal. Anyway, right. Sorry, I'm being shouted at now. I'm going to whiz you through some of the front pages. The Sun and Meghan a movie. The Guardian, Lammy under pressure for 2 more prisoners mistakenly freed. The Mail, police warn of a Labour soft justice crime wave. The Times, Lammy snared by latest migrant release blunder. The Daily Telegraph, paper mile tax to hit drivers in the budget. The Mirror, prisons chaos. Not a gain, but it is a gain. And The Express, they go for shocking release of Algerian sex attack convict. Those are your front pages. Lots to go out there for Bev Turner, who's going to be stateside for us. Can I say a massive thank you to my wonderful panel, a massive thank you to my viewers and listeners as well. I'll be back tomorrow from 9 p.m. Bev Turner is getting ready to guide you through into the early hours with The Late Show Live. Bev, over to you.
Thank you, Patrick. That's right. It's been a pretty nightmarish 24 hours for Donald Trump, the worst since he was re-elected. In fact, we're going to be looking at the fallout in New York City from that socialist Muslim mayor being elected. Also, the war on the motorist, pay per mile for electric drivers. I think that is absolutely disgusting. And Ben Leo's here in the studio.
We could be delivering the perfect Christmas to you this year. There's £30,000 in tax-free cash to make 2026 the best year yet. A further £10,000 cash to spend on gifts for all the family. There's £1,000 to spend in your favourite supermarket. And a festively themed GB News goodie bag. And we'll get it all to you in time for the big day. For a chance to win, text WIN to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text bonus to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network